Hey everybody, it's Norm from Tested, and first of all, happy holidays. We're at the end of 2018. It's been a pretty long year, and I'm looking back and there's just so many awesome things that we did at Tested. But to end this year, as is tradition, I, along with the other members of the Tested team and Adam, are going to be sharing for the next week and a half our favorite things of the year. Some product recommendations, some new tools and techniques that we learned, maybe not necessarily things that even came out this year, but things that helped improve our lives as makers and as connoisseurs of popular entertainment. So I'm going to start off with a tool. I was introduced to this tool, the Cricut Maker by Kate Sabaker, our resident model maker and fabricator, and Kate swears by this. It's a vinyl cutter. Previously, I've used laser cutters, I've used desktop CNCs, and of course printers, but I never used a vinyl cutter that you can take a vector image, a SVG file, import it, design it in your design program of choice, and then cut out on vinyl or even on balsa wood, cut fabric, or cut even styrene up to 12 inches by 24 inches on a device that's only about $350. I know vinyl cutting previously was in kind of the realm of, crafting, traditional crafting, home crafting, but for makers making props and even doing fabrication for production work, a home vinyl cutter can go so much more. You get so much more for bang for your buck than you would investing in a multi-$1,000 laser cutter. And it's a great way to get started thinking about turning 2D shapes, vector shapes, into 3D objects. Moving on with technology, I've used a bunch of cameras. Of course, I have my trusty DSLR camera that I use almost every day, but also really pleased with some different types of innovative camera technologies being experimented with in the consumer space. So 2 cameras came out this year that I really were interesting. I don't use them necessarily every day, but I love my time using them. First of all, this is Lenovo's VR180 camera. It's a all-in-one package designed with Google for their Daydream system, but actually works with other VR headsets, and it films stereoscopic 180-degree video in a compact point-and-shoot package. You can mount this on a tripod, you can kind of put it anywhere, and as long as you don't move the camera too much, even though there's a gyro in here, it lets you film really compelling 3D video that you can then stream to places, or you can just sideload onto a headset and watch, and it's let me think about 3D video in a totally different way that I'd never thought of before. And you don't have to build your own rig using 2 GoPros. All in one package works really well. I also like viewing 360 video, not necessarily in headset, but I found that 360-degree video works really well in browsers on places like Facebook where you can just turn around or you can move your phone like a gyro. And to film that, I really like the Insta360 One X. This one came out just this fall. Insta360 has a bunch of camera accessories. We've used them in the past. They can attach to phones, and I like their gyro stabilization system. Over the past couple of years, we've seen a rise in gimbal stabilizing systems. You may have seen phones or GoPros on these handheld gimbal mounts, and as those got cheaper, totally valid way to get really stabilized video. But what Insta360 has done with their digital stabilization is what they do is they take a 360 video, and then in the software, using some of that accelerometer data, using some of their secret sauce or algorithms for stabilization, you can then crop that 360 video into a 16:9 video and have it point in any direction you want. You can basically direct after the fact, and I found it just as useful for making stabilized videos as a mechanized gimbal, but of course no mechanical failure. It's really small, really compact, and of course can mount on to all sorts of tripod mounts. Interesting camera tech this year. Moving on with tech, this is a product that didn't come out this year. I've been using it a bunch, but I really think it's a banner year for PSVR, PlayStation's VR headset. Now, technically, it is the least powerful of all the VR headsets, but it's most accessible because all you need is a PS4, not even a PS4 Pro, and this holiday season, the price for the PSVR went to really low with game bundles, and there's a killer app. My favorite game for PSVR this year, and maybe my favorite VR game, yeah, it's my favorite VR game this year. It's Astro Bot Rescue Missions. Sony Japan studio knocked it out of the park designing a platformer that works great in VR and prove that you don't need hand presence. You don't need track hand controllers to have a compelling game in VR. The track PS4 controller in VR, as you're watching these robots jump around, looking around, it's like the Mario 64 moment for VR. And if you are interested in VR and you have a PlayStation 4, I highly recommend picking up PSVR, getting Beat Saber, and getting Astrobot Rescue Mission. Now, also, back to the physical world, model making is something we ramped up with this year on Tested. We did a bunch of videos with our friends Bill Duran and Kate Sabaker for our community doing some model making projects, and I just want to give a shout out to two of my favorite garage kits from this year. First of all is one from Michael Singh, Machination Studio. He did that mechanized multi-leg robot, and he started doing these small run robots at smaller scale. Still has a little bit of articulated action, but Kate and I had so much fun painting this one up, experimenting with different paint chipping techniques, experimenting with creating some faux water, and making this diorama. I had so much fun making this. But my favorite garage kit this year, the one that I kind of want to buy another one to make again, is this guy. This is Eddie the Robot, and it's a design by CG artist Paul Braddock, and I think he's still selling these, but it's one of the cleanest and most beautiful kits I've seen, garage kits, not only because of his beautiful striking design, but because of his thoughtfulness in making this model kit. The inclusion of magnets to get the head to articulate, the opening up of the inside so you can light up the eyes actually, and the posability, the aesthetic. I've followed him on Instagram, and I've followed the tag for him on Instagram for the Eddie robot and other people who've made this, and their approaches have just been so delightful. I'm really glad people throw my take on Eddie the Robot into the mix. You can find out where to get this robot kit in a link below. And then finally, my last favorite thing of 2018 doesn't fit in this room. It's actually my new electric car. And I just want to give a shout out to electric vehicles in general this year. I'm not advocating for any particular brand or any specific hybrid. Jeremy, of course, has his Chevy Bolt. He's loved that. And I got a Model 3 this year. But the experience of driving an electric vehicle, the oomph you get, that instant torque that you get is just so fun to drive. And really, the money saved on gas is wonderful, but not having to go through that ritual of going to a gas station, getting an oil change every couple of months, going to a gas station every 2 weeks, that has really changed the way I think about transportation. And so as electric vehicles become more affordable, as they become more, as charging places become more ubiquitous, it's something I highly recommend people look into. The electric car is far from dead, and I'm looking forward to what autonomous cars can bring into the future. So in the coming days, like I said before, we'll have other favorite things videos from our other contributors. Thank you so much for watching our tested videos this year. Hope you all have a wonderful holidays. Merry Christmas, and I'll see you next time. Bye.